Welcome to datascience.show, the podcast where data science meets executive leadership. We talk with top AI and analytics thought leaders about turning data into real business impact. If you're a C-level leader or data expert shaping the future, you're in the right place.
I'm your host, Mirko. We explore how data science and AI drive real business impact, straight from the leaders making it happen. Today, we're tackling a topic most organizations avoid until it becomes a crisis: model end of life, the deliberate process of decommissioning, migrating, or retiring AI models in production. This matters now because every deployed model ages, performance drifts, business priorities shift, vendors change, and regulation evolves. Treat end of life as a capability, and you protect value, reduce cost, and manage risk proactively. To set the stage, imagine a senior chief data officer responsible for 40 production models across customer experience, fraud, and pricing. They didn't build every model, but they must ensure uptime, compliance, and cost controls. Over time, dozens of models accumulate technical debt, undocumented dependencies, stale feature stores, and models that still run because no one signed the termination ticket. These are what I call zombie models. They consume resources, expose risk, and obscure true ROI. In the next 20 minutes, I'll walk through a practical playbook an executive can use to institutionalize model retirement as a repeatable, low-friction part of the ML lifecycle. First, a quick background perspective. You don't need a separate hero guest for this. I'll summarize the viewpoint of a senior head of ML ops I work with, a leader who's spent the last decade scaling model portfolios at global banks and retailers, responsible for compliance, cost, and product continuity. Their priorities are simple: reduce operational risk, free budget for high-impact models, and keep audit trails clean for regulators. They approach retirement decisions not as ad hoc engineering tasks, but as product lifecycle actions tied to business outcomes and governance checkpoints. Let's move into the core playbook: strategy to execution. Start with objective retirement criteria. Define measurable triggers that automatically flag a model for review. Sustained performance degradation beyond a defined SLA window. Feature drift exceeding statistical thresholds. Negative business impact measured in revenue or error cost. Increasing maintenance cost above a fixed % of value. Or regulatory changes that invalidate permitted usage. For each criterion, require documented evidence, metrics, timestamps, and a business impact statement. That evidence is your legal and audit safety net. Next, pair cost of maintenance analysis with business value. On one axis, quantify direct operating cost, compute, inference latency penalties, engineering hours for support, and vendor fees. On the other axis, estimate measurable business value, incremental revenue, cost avoidance, compliance risk reduction, or customer retention attributable to the model. Plot each model on a simple matrix. High value, low cost is keep and invest. Low value, high cost is candidate for immediate retirement or replacement. This visualization makes trade-offs visible to the executive team and simplifies budget reallocation decisions. Now the migration patterns, the playbook you can operationalize. There are 5 pragmatic patterns: replace, retrain, degrade gracefully, route to human, and retire. Replace means swap in a new model with a parallel shadow run, validate business metrics, and then cut over during a controlled window. Retrain means update the model on recent data, but always run the previous model in shadow for a validation period. Degrade gracefully is critical. Add throttles or reduced service modes so user experience degrades in controlled steps rather than abruptly. Route to human routes decisions to an operator when confidence falls below threshold. Retire is a full shutdown with archive and lineage retained. Each pattern requires a checklist and rollback plan. For every migration, you need legal and compliance checkpoints embedded early. Ask these questions before you flip any switch. Are there contractual obligations with customers or vendors tied to availability or SLAs? Does the model produce outputs that must be retained for audit? Are there regulatory consent or data retention implications? Before retirement, archive model artifacts, training data snapshots, feature definitions, and assigned business impact sign-off. Immutable retention with documented lineage prevents compliance exposure and preserves defense in case of disputes. Operational sequencing matters as much as the technical decision. Use a staged approach with explicit rollback windows. Stage 1, flag and review. Automated detection notifies product, legal, and ops. Stage 2, shadowing. Run candidate replacement or retrain in parallel for a measured period. Stage 3, limited cutover. Route a fraction of traffic and monitor both technical and business KPIs. Stage 4, full cutover, followed by watchful rollback period. If any KPI breaches thresholds, revert to the previous model and investigate. The mandatory rollback window reduces pressure on engineers and reduces the chance of rushed mistakes. A short checklist you can implement immediately. 1. Automated retirement triggers in your monitoring stack. 2. An immutable archive pipeline for artifacts and lineage. 3. A cross-functional retirement sign-off template. 4. A shadowing capability for rapid validation. And 5. A budget reallocation rule that returns freed capacity to a central innovation pool. These 5 elements convert a reactive shutdown into a predictable, low-friction business process. Let's focus on organizational decisions. Who owns decommissioning? My recommendation, a shared model product council. Product, engineering, legal, security, and finance, with a rotating executive sponsor. Operational responsibility sits with MLOps, but authority to retire models requires the council's sign-off when business impact exceeds a threshold. Create measurable incentives. Include retirement KPIs in team OKRs, so engineering is rewarded for reducing technical debt and freeing capacity, not just shipping new models. Align budgets so decommission spend funnels into prioritized initiatives rather than disappearing without governance. Measuring success. Don't rely only on counts of models retired. Use 3 metrics. First, total cost reclaimed, CPU, storage, license fees, and staff hours. Second, reduction in unresolved incidents or operational tickets tied to legacy models. Third, time to swap. How long from decision to safe retirement? Combine these with qualitative outcomes, like improved audit readiness and clearer product roadmaps. Report these quarterly to the C-suite, so the business sees retirement as a source of capacity and risk reduction. Looking forward, successful organizations treat retirement as part of product roadmaps. Invest in modular inference layers that make swapping models routine. Standardize feature contracts to reduce coupling, and automate artifact archiving so compliance steps are low friction. Consider platform investments, feature stores with versioning, model registries that enforce lifecycle states, and CI pipelines that support shadow evaluation. These infrastructure choices reduce the marginal cost and risk of end-of-life actions. Executive advice for the next 12 to 24 months. Institutionalize retirement triggers in your monitoring. Mandate a cross-functional retirement checklist and create a small retire and reclaim team to rapidly execute low-risk retirements and return budget to innovation. Start with a pilot. Pick a non-customer-facing model portfolio. Apply the full playbook, measure reclaimed cost and incidents avoided, and scale the practice across the organization.
2 immediate action items you can implement after this episode. 1. Deploy automated retirement triggers and require a business impact sign-off before models remain in indefinite operation. 2. Create a cross-functional model product council with a defined retirement authority and a budget reallocation rule. Those 2 moves alone change retirement from an afterthought into a repeatable capability that preserves value and reduces risk. Final reflection. Model end of life is not a failure. It's a discipline. When you treat retirement as part of your operating model, you reduce hidden liabilities, accelerate innovation, and keep your organization focused on measurable impact. That's the difference between models and value. If you found this episode valuable, subscribe and share it with your network. And let's connect on LinkedIn. I'm Mirko Peters. We'll be back with more conversations on how data science and AI create real business impact. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to datascience.show. If you found value in this episode, subscribe, share it with your network, and join us next time as we explore how data science drives smarter decisions and better business outcomes.